Welcome back, everybody, to the Wandering Samurai Study, in which we review and analyze every single act told in Rurouni Kenshin. And today's act is Act 47 Extra, Sonosuke and Nishiki Paintings Part 3, and the finale to Volume 6 of Rurouni Kenshin, and the finale to the Tokyo arc. It's been a long ride. 47 episodes, and we're here, about to start the second half of Rurouni Kenshin, or the second third of Rurouni Kenshin. I'm excited. I'm so glad that we're here. It's been a ride. It's been a learning curve, but I've been getting a lot out of this series, and I'm really happy that we found an audience. Not a big one, but nonetheless, there's an audience here that's shown me that they care about Rurouni Kenshin just as much as I do. And without making this too sappy, let's just go ahead and stay focused on this act. This act really felt like it was rushed into its conclusion. That this whole little mini arc could have used one more chapter the way that Watsuki wanted to. We have a series of just real quick events, things that don't really feel fleshed out. It's boom, 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 boom. And as soon as Sanosuke jumps the wall, he sees Kenshin, and that's it. Like, Sanosuke feels like he's done. But we'll get into that as we get into the chapter summary review, and we'll go from there. Sonosuke and Katsu make their attack on the government building, setting off a few bombs away from their location to cause a distraction. The two men jump over the wall and find Kenshin waiting for them. Sonosuke doesn't make an attack on Kenshin, but Katsu does. Sonosuke, realizing how futile their mission is and how much time they've lost being held back by Kenshin, he stops Katsu from furthering this pursuit and knocks him out. Katsu wakes up in his room, angered by their failure. Sonosuke reminds Katsu of the shameful things that their own captain did, and told Katsu that if they had continued by any means necessary, they would have truly become a false revolutionary army. Katsu quits his job as a Nishiki artist, gives his last work to Sonosuke, and says that he will open up a newspaper to criticize the Meiji government. I think that this might be one of the shorter videos because there's really only two things that I want to talk about, Sonosuke and Katsu. So let's go ahead and begin by talking about Sonosuke. I've already mentioned how there's this feeling of this arc being wrapped up within this act, and Sonosuke remembering his captain is the beginning point of setting up the conclusion for this act, because it really is Sanosuke remembering his captain when they're climbing up the wall, where he finally settles on a decision to back down. He had been going along with this to support his friend and to feel connected to his roots, feeling a little bit nostalgic with the Sekihotai and seeing his old friend, but this whole thing really makes him uncomfortable, and he was uncertain about where he wanted to go, how he wanted to be involved in all of this, and he just decided to go with his friend. But he had been looking for answers along the way to register with his feelings, this uncertainty, this uncomfortableness that he was feeling, and he found it when he was climbing up the wall and he remembered his captain. So by the time that they get on the other side of the wall and they see Kenshin in their way, Kenshin also fits into that piece, but we'll talk about Kenshin when we get into Katsu. I just really like, though, that if this act needed to conclude this story arc, setting up the remembering the captain and his feelings of wanting to have a society with classless equality and having to get his hands dirty along the way, or knowing that his captain was not okay with it and not proud of it, really helped him come to terms with what he is doing here, and it's why he didn't even bother trying to fight Kenshin and instead held his friend from doing just that. And talking to him when they got back to the house and bringing him back to the house and stuff, and giving him some sense of clarity. And Sonosuke's slow and steady mentality is the key to all of this. It's the reason that he's adopted this carefree attitude and this carefree lifestyle in the Meiji government. I mean, he has these personality quirks that can be a little bit comedic, skipping out on his tab and stuff, and trying to mooch off of his friends, but really there's a difference between where he's at now and the person that he was back then. It's the reason why, 2 acts ago, there was such a emphasis on recognizing who Sanosuke was before he met Kenshin. And so having this slow and steady mentality, knowing that ever so slightly he will edge to his goal in honoring the Seki Hotai instead of the by any means necessary, it just shows that he's trying to be, I guess, the bigger person in a really weird situation, because he recognizes that the Meiji government and the ancient Jishi, the patriots, they took that by any means necessary philosophy, like utilizing scapegoats, like using assassins like Kenshin, getting rid of people that are too dangerous, setting up like Makoto Shishio and stuff. Let's go ahead and talk about Katsu. In the previous act, and I think I said it in the act before that, covering this little mini arc, I've really put an emphasis on Katsu being what Sonosuke would have been if Sonosuke had never met Kenshin. And so it's pretty gratifying, it's pretty cool to see Sonosuke get to be the Kenshin to Katsu. Because very similar to the way that Kenshin told Sonosuke way back when, that even though the bloodshed has ceased, the revolution is not yet over. Sonosuke now gets to tell that to Katsu, telling him that Kenshin, being a former ancient Jishi, is probably the one that has been affected by all of this the most, because he helped lead in that this new way of life, this new government, and he knows that killing did not lead to that resolution. And so now in these peaceful times, that they need to go about it a different way, the way that Kenshin is going about it. And that's pretty cool. It kind of continues to round out that motivation of that slow and steady mentality. We get to understand Sonosuke a lot better, and we get to see Sonosuke being Kenshin for his friend. So it's not just Yahiko who looks up to Kenshin. I think Sonosuke has his way of looking up to Kenshin as well. And so Sonosuke finally getting through to Katsu and letting go of this by any means necessary notion, he finally quits his job as a Nishiki artist, and he opens up a newspaper, and that's freaking bold. Oh my god. I tried doing a quick Google search and just wondering if there was any freedom of speech during the Meiji era, because it wasn't technically a democracy. It's the first semblance of the Meiji becoming a modern nation, but I don't think that they adopted a democratic institution, a democratic government. I don't really know what it was called, but I don't think that the Meiji would have allowed freedom of speech if they were so eager on trying to prove the value of this new government. For example, what we're all gonna lead into, people trying to overthrow the government and showing that the government is weak. Having somebody point out the flaws or the wrongdoings of the Meiji government is going to get the Meiji government to lock on Katsu. And so for that, I think it's really bold of him. He probably has to be very careful about how he's going to criticize the government, but it's really cool because it's his own way of, sticking it to the man the way that Sonosuke wants to. And I mean, it's different because Sonosuke sticks it to the man by not paying up for his tabs. This is a much more bold approach, and I really like it because it leaves the door open for Katsu. It allows us to kind of check in on him if the writer really wants to, if he decided to continue having Katsu be part of the story. Kind of like the way that Tai and Tsubame are for the Yakabeko and the rest of the group. This is neat. It really kind of grows the family of this Tokyo dojo. And we get other characters that we can check in on from time to time. It doesn't have to be these core characters, Rurouni Kenshin, Yahiko, and Sanosuke. It's pretty cool. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. And that, ladies and gentlemen, has been the end of Act 47 of Rurouni Kenshin and the end of Volume 6. We are done with this 3-in-1 cover, and next time we will be starting off with this one. And I already kind of took a peek in there. We definitely start the Kyoto hand next, the Kyoto arc, and I'm excited. Oh gosh, like, it's becoming so real for me again. I don't mean to get all sappy, but thank you everybody who has joined me along the way. Thank you for your comments. I try to be as responsive as possible. Sometimes I get distracted because the videos go up while I'm at work and I can't be as connected to my phone as I'd like to to answer comments or to engage with all of you guys. But thank you so much for supporting the series so far. Thank you for making me feel like I have something to do every single week and I have a project that I need to get done every week. Anyways, thank you guys so much. If you're new here and you like this video, then consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a comment down below and tell me how long you've been a Rurouni Kenshin fan. What did you guys think of the Tokyo arc told through the manga versus the anime? That's a little bit more loosely based. It has a lot more filler. This one is a really tight narrative, I think. I mean, it fumbles in some aspects, but like, what story doesn't? I mean, I'll catch you all next time. Bye, chan.